Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you are new here, my name is Teresa and I'm a content creator based right here in Nigeria. If you love what you see already, consider subscribing to this channel by clicking that subscribe button below. Also, don't forget to turn on post notification because that will notify you whenever I drop a new content on this channel. And don't forget to like, don't forget to comment, don't forget to share. So in today's video, we'll be checking out the most corrupt countries in Africa in 2023. We'll be checking out the top 14. So if you are interested in that type of content, make sure you watch this video till the very end. And I hope you know this report is from the Transparency International on Africa's Corruption Index, and it's quite detailed and the opposite of encouraging, especially that of sub-Saharan Africa. The Corruption Perception Index, that is the CPI of many countries, rise and fall in the face of various factors, including the coronavirus pandemic and economic decline. Sub-Saharan Africa comprises of countries such as Burundi, Seychelles, Nigeria, Cameroon, Kenya, Cape Verde, Lesotho, the Gambia, Ghana, Angola, Ethiopia, Liberia, and so on, which lie to the south of the Sahara Desert. They have been recorded to have the lowest corruption perception index in the whole of Africa, show little or no signs of improvement, and is in need of speedy intervention. With COVID-19 came a fresh spread of economic hardship in addition to exposing the more corruption loopholes in the system. People were told to stay at home by an order of lockdown, and the sick and infected ones among them did not all have access to proper medical care due to the very poor healthcare systems in place. Despite the fact that this happened as a result of misuse of appropriate funds, a typical example of corruption in modern-day Africa, the corruption rate continued to rise, fueled and fanned to greater heights by the economic decline. Things were so difficult and harsh for many that riots, revolts, and protests broke out in several countries in sub-Saharan Africa, especially during the pandemic. People were not going about their businesses as they used to, and so the chain of commerce suffered. A working solution or alleviation would have been the issuance of palliatives to those who need it. However, this was hijacked and misappropriation by corrupt officials. Prices, especially food prices, skyrocketed. Cases of bribery also increased. Reports from the Global Corruption Barometer show that about 1 in every 4 persons in Africa has had to pay a bribe to access essential services supposed to be duly provided by the governments in place. It is no use that a place high up on the corruption radar has only dealt serious harm to the continent of Africa. It is also a huge barrier to the achievement of all their development goals and targets, as well as economic improvements. Only a united and decisive action against the further decay of the system can save the continent from further plunging into the depths of its current state. Still on the Transparency International report, the countries with the least corruption perception index include Mauritius, Rwanda, Cape Verde, Namibia, Botswana, Seychelles, and so on. They are some of the countries with the least propensity to corruption in the continent of Africa. And like I said, in this video, we'll be checking out the most corrupt countries in Africa. So the first country on our list is Somalia. Somalia tops the list a most corrupt country in Africa. The high corruption rate in the country is further facilitated by the unrest, state of anarchy, and insecurity in the country. Bribery is also the order of the day, as some government officials allow themselves to be bribed and therefore look the other way when illegal and unlawful acts are carried out. Even though Somalia's constitution clearly prohibits many forms of corruption, the process of implementing said laws is not being carried out. Institutions and parastatals are in a disorganized state and unable to support resistance against the cloud of corruption upon the country. There is no framework or set rules for the regulation of state activities, and the economy is bound and unable to grow in such states. The second country on our list is South Sudan. South Sudan rank high on the list because it is especially plagued by bribery. It seems like most things, including engaging in commercial activities, will not be successful unless bribes are given. To run one's business without qualms, one have to buy some form of government affiliation, or rather buy it. The judicial system in South Sudan is nothing to write home about either. It is crippled by corruption too and unable to help the issue in the country. The third country we'll be checking out is Equatorial Guinea. Reports have it that the corruption control in Equatorial Guinea is incredibly low. The citizens no longer have faith in the ability and performance of the public officials. This is because these authorities only work for their own public benefits. The fourth country on our list is Sudan. Sudan is on the list of most corrupt African countries because of the profound permeation of corruption in nearly all sectors of the country, particularly the economic sector. The corruption in the country also reigns in the political realm, where authorities abuse their powers and favoritism is the order of the day. The fifth country on our list is Libya. Ever since the collapse of Gaddafi's rulership in 2010, Libya has been thrown into a state of absolute turmoil. The economy fell drastically and the public and industry sectors have taken a nosedive into a deep trench of corruption. The once booming oil sector is now plagued by corruption and vandalism. The commercial industry is a constant tug of war with businesses run by the state, as the latter arbitrarily and unlawfully takes over the market and stifles any form of competition from private ventures. The sixth country on our list is Democratic Republic of Congo. Democratic Republic of Congo is a country that seems to thrive on oppression and suppression, especially of those who speak out against the corruption at a time or take measures to curtail it. The democratic system in place is rather frail and doesn't challenge the corrupt whims of politicians in the country. The country's internal security is also in jeopardy as it is not in control of its own armed forces. There is constant struggle for control and power tussle between the country's already depleted forces and local militia, both within and along its borders. The seventh country on our list is Guinea-Bissau. Guinea-Bissau was listed as seventh on the top 10 most corrupt African nations. Corruption has invaded the system and caused a malfunctioning of the otherwise organized government departments. The next country on our list is Congo. Congo is the 165 least corrupt nation out of 180 countries and the 8th most corrupt countries in Africa, according to the Corruption Perception Index reported by Transparency International. The ninth country on our list is Burundi. It seems to be that only a societal analysis and a review of policies will salvage the state of Burundi. This is because the current policies and agencies put in place to combat the corruption in the country has failed to dent the burden of corruption upon the country. The corruption rate is steadily on the increase and is a deep cause of alarm, so much that it caused a state of unrest and instability in the country. The 10th country on our list is Chad. In addition to security issues made worse by insurgency, Chad is also pervaded by corruption. Its economy suffers a huge blow as a result, and the rule of law is barely enforceable. Many people act in a corrupt light in a way that suggests that they are above the way. There is, however, an existence of legislation against corruption with sanctions harsh enough to deter any person, but this doesn't deter the perpetrators of corrupt acts in Chad. They instead target, entrap, and impose these sanctions and punishments on perceived enemies of the government or members of oppositions. The next country we'll be checking out is Zimbabwe. On the 11th place, we have the Republic of Zimbabwe. Research has shown that Zimbabwe is one of the countries that has the highest rates of corruption in Africa since she gained her independence till today. According to Transparency International, Zimbabwe loses over $5 million every day because of the high rate of corruption in our public sector. There has also been reports of unaccountability of many public heads for money which were supposed to be for public use. Government of the country has also passed many laws in order to benefit themselves rather than the country at large. For example, the Indigenization and Economic Empowerment Bill. Of course, there are also several government agencies that was put in place to stop corruption, but they all seem not to be working. For example, the Zimbabwean Anti-Corruption Commission, that is ACC, actually has little or no power to stop corruption in the country. So, on our number 12, we have Nigeria. In Nigeria, corruption is a persistent problem. According to estimates from 2012, Nigeria has lost more than $400 billion to corruption since becoming independent. South Sudan, which was listed at 180th on the corruption index, was the most corrupt nation, while Denmark had the lowest level of corruption. Due to their ties to Nigeria's oil and gas sectors, politicians in that country enjoy positions of authority and money. About 90% of all export earnings from Nigeria come from the sale of oil and gas. These industries, which receive tax dollars from the energy sector, are under the ownership of many politicians. Every aspect of the Nigerian administration is corrupt. It is claimed that corruption within the state machinery costs the nation billions of dollars annually. This corruption ranges from significant contract fraud at the top to small-scale bribery, criminal enterprises, embezzlement, and snatching salaries from employees. The next country on our list is South Africa. In South Africa, corruption is defined as the illicit exploitation of public resources for private advantages, such as bribery as well as unlawful favoritism. In 2017, Transparency International Corruption Perception Index gave South Africa a rating of 43 out of 100, ranking the country 71st out of 180 countries. Both a high score as well as a low ranking shows that people trust the public sector of the country. With a score of 44 in 2021, South Africa had made a small improvement and was ranked 70th out of 180 countries. Although South Africa has a strong anti-corruption framework, laws are not consistently upheld and accountability in public sectors like healthcare is still subpar. To deter whistleblowers from disclosing corrupt practices in both the public and private sector, internal punishments have also been used. The 14th country, which is the last in this video, is Mozambique. Mozambique's republic has deteriorated as the nation deals with deteriorating economic circumstances and rising armed conflicts. Corrupt officials are mostly to blame for the rising instability in the economy, governance, environment, as well as security sectors. As a result, the necessity to tackle the problem of corruption and strengthen anti-corruption mechanisms is urgent. In the interim, there was a huge discovery. Meanwhile, the discovery of abundant natural resources has raised the stakes in the fight against corruption. Income from resources can either finance structural change, development, and the reduction of poverty, or they can be used as incentives for grand corruption to continue with disastrous results. The ongoing conflict in Mozambique's north, which is fueled by a complicated web of intertwined grievances, has increased the case of spending money on restoring faith in government institutions rather than on a unilateral security-focused strategy. It is clear that this deep plunge into the well of corruption is detrimental to the progress of the continent. Transparency International is of the opinion that Africa can tackle corruption by taking certain immediate actions such as regulating public services and funds injected into the sector for such purpose to curb embezzlement, reinstate the principle of checks and balance, as well as the true spirit of democracy. And that brings us to the end of this video. If you find this video informative and you are yet to subscribe to this channel, kindly do so now by clicking that subscribe button below, and don't forget to turn on post notification because that will notify you whenever I drop new content on this channel. Also, don't forget to like, don't forget to comment, don't forget to share, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Till then, stay safe and remain blessed. Bye.